I wanted to talk a bit today about how the time of year can affect how we sort of feel about our bodies and things, because obviously now we're getting towards summertime. Obviously we've got the warmer days and the sunny days, and there's opportunities to be going out, and you're not going to be covered up in big thick coats and scarves and things like that. Your body is going to be more on show, and obviously with that there's more consciousness about how you look, and wanting to look slim, or if you're a man, wanting to look muscular. And really, so for me, something that I've been struggling with a lot at the moment is bloating, and 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 being comfortable with being seen outside with a bloated stomach, because obviously the reality is, if you've eaten a meal, your stomach might stick out a bit, because obviously the food has got to go somewhere until it's all digested, and and used and excreted or whatever. There is going to be some bloating, and it's got to go somewhere. So in the winter, that's not really as much of an issue, because obviously it's cold outside, so we're all wearing big coats and jumpers and things, and nobody really sees your stomach, so you can hide it. And for me personally, I don't feel as uncomfortable about going outside in the winter just after I've eaten, because I can cover up my stomach, and I know that people aren't going to notice that I've just eaten, and that, well, to be honest, people aren't going to notice anyway, but I think people are going to see if I look bloated at all. But obviously in the winter that's not as much of an issue. But now with the summer coming around, and everyone's wearing t-shirts and shorts and things, obviously t-shirts are going to show your shape more, and if you are bloated, it might be a bit more noticeable. And for me, I find that really difficult, and I've been struggling to go out like immediately after meals, because I'm so conscious about how I'm looking, and whether or not people are going to notice that I'm bloated, which I know seems very self-centered, and that that's just the reality of it, that is an issue for me. But to be honest, if I take a step back and look at it from a rational perspective, if I'm outside and I see someone walking along in a t-shirt and their stomach's slightly bloated, I don't suddenly then look at them and think, oh, what a piece of shit, like look at their bloated stomach. I don't start thinking bad things about someone just because they're bloated. I might just think, oh, perhaps they've just eaten a meal, or perhaps they just are a bit bloated. I mean, bloating doesn't mean that you're fat. Bloating just means that you've got a bit of food in your stomach, and obviously everyone has to eat to survive. So people are going to be bloated from time to time. It's just a fact of life, but it doesn't make you any less of a person, or less likable. Like, if I certainly hope that people don't like me because I've got a flat stomach all the time. Like, I want people to like me because of my personality, and because they like who I am and what I'm about, not because of my appearance, and whether or not I look fat, or if I look bloated. So for me, I find it puts a lot of pressure on me, because I'm always feeling like I've got to be looking, flat stomach, and everything's got to be looking perfect before I can go outside and be seen, and it limits what I can do, really, because I can't eat meals out, because if I've just eaten a meal, and then we carry on with the day, I have sort of certain routines that I do after a meal to try and alleviate some of the bloating, whether it be well, whether it be to use the toilet, or to just go for a walk to try and allow some of the food to sort of assimilate. But obviously sometimes that's not practical. Like, if we've got to rush off somewhere after a meal and get to a meeting, or get to a lecture, or our next lesson at school, or whatever, it's not always practical to have this time after a meal to allow the bloating to go down and things. So something that's brought this about was because last night I was walking to the shops with my mum, and I was wearing a tight shirt, and it was clinging to my stomach, and whenever people were looking at me, automatically all I could think was straight away was, oh, they must be looking at my stomach thinking that I'm bloated. And So I always automatically assume that they're thinking something negative about me, but I never actually think whether or not they might be admiring how I look, and they might be thinking, oh God, he's in good shape. I wish I looked like him, and whatever, or I wish I had the confidence to wear that. I always just immediately shoot myself down and assume that people are always laughing at me, or thinking badly of me, and I know that for a lot of people who struggle with body image issues and eating disorders, that's something that we do. We always assume that if anyone's looking at us, they're thinking negative things about us. But 99 times out of 100, people are not even really looking at you, or if they are, it's not they're not thinking anything bad or anything at all, really. That everyone's for themselves, to be honest. People are more bothered about worrying about themselves rather than other people. So, if sometimes you just have to take a step back and realize that it's not always about you and how you look and things. And yeah, so that's something that I've been struggling with anyway. So as always, thank you for listening, and if anyone's got any comments, please leave them down below. Give the video a like, and as always, please subscribe to the channel. Show some support. I've got my Instagram link down below as well, AlexGalloway12, all lowercase, and I will speak to you again soon.